Hello, Internet! For those of you who watched our previous video on the studio tour, just a quick update. That tour date has been postponed for now until September because of the whole coronavirus pandemic thing. But that is on September 19th and 20th, that weekend. So update your calendars and join us on the studio tour hopefully in September. In the meantime, stay safe, stay at home if you can, and we will see you online or in person or both.
So what is the County Collector? Basically, every artist that's taking part in the County Studio Tour is given this canvas and this cute little frame. And you're supposed to make some art on top of it or out of it. Every artist makes one of these. Every artist sells it for the same price. And it is all part of the County Collector. Now, because all of the frames and the canvases and whatever are all the same size, it sort of goes into this format. So I guess the intent, at least as it was described to us, is as a means of getting people out to come by, because there will at very least be one very cheap, super affordable piece of very nice custom artwork in every person's gallery.
If you get there early enough.
If you get there early enough, yes. So we are told that the County Collector is supposed to go on sale on the first day, which is Saturday, at 10 a.m. We're not supposed to sell it before that. We're not supposed to sell it for anything other than that fixed price
Of $75. Next time we'll make one sell it for $1,000.
Maybe we should sell this for more next time, because
Next time we make one, we will sell it for the entire cost of our mortgage.
it's a bit extreme.
Nope. Anyway, Jeremy, I think the overall design was kind of your idea. Like, we were talking about it together, and I wanted to do something that was kind of like your other sculptures that you did, like the wings and the dragon and the robot hands that you did. And then I thought I could add some of my little crafty bullshit on there to make it look kind of like a hybrid thing, kind of like a biomechanical thing.
The thing that I think we really wanted to do when we were coming up with the idea of this was to do something super different. There are a lot of sculptors, jewelry makers, and painters in the county tour. And what we put together is sort of a combination, I think, of all of those things. So this was kind of put together with a whole bunch of really just random stuff that we just had lying around. Aaron, you have all of these wonderful stockpiles of like cute little trinkets like the gears and the buttons and chicken bones and the epoxy cicada holding a gear.
That's a real cicada exoskeleton.
In addition to this really cool sort of stockpile of trinkets that you've accumulated, I also had this massive stockpile of nuts and bolts and electrical components and all these other things that I kind of added into it to make it look kind of industrial and old-timey, I guess you could say. So originally I think that we were going to actually cut either some wood or acrylic, or maybe I was going to try to steal some time on the laser etcher at work to cut this ring piece here. But I actually ended up finding just a shitty piece of plastic that I think was originally part of a cup dispenser from when we used to work at Wawa. So Aaron and I both spent time working at the Wawa. We were soldiers of the Wa.
Isn't that what Kat called it?
It is. I've always loved that term. Soldiers of the Wa.
Soldiers of the Wa.
We were soldiers of the Wa, and they did several renovations while I was working there and while Aaron was working there. And every time they did a renovation, they would take all of the old hardware and materials and stuff that they took out of the store, they'd pitch it out back in the dumpster. That did not sit well with me. I like to reuse things, especially things that I find to be useful. There are a series of handles and hinges and screws and bolts and other things that I reclaimed from that trash heap and used in my home, but also for random projects. And included in that was this random little cup holder, which was originally being used actually in our previous residence as a mounting point for a punching bag, that's a whole nother story. But I ended up finding this perfect little piece with this ring thing here and just cut out the sides so that it would basically stand on little struts, and glued that down, and it ended up being the perfect size for this piece. So that's where that main component came from.
Wawa cycling.
What I'm really glad about, and I had kind of intended this from the beginning, and I don't know if we ever formally actually discussed what I wanted you to do with this ring around the center. You essentially did exactly what I had in mind mind, which is to do one of these beautiful little brain scribbles.
Brain scribbles?
I can't think of a better word for it.
Stream of consciousness?
Yeah, stream of consciousness wiggles.
The material for that was actually, it was like this piece of board. It was like a cardboard type backing that was on
Pressboard.
pressboard. Was it pressboard? It was very thin. It looked like cardboard, but it was some kind of pressboard that was attached to the desk that we set up for my computer. So it was on my desk, and Jeremy took it off so we could get some wires through the back, I guess. And it had kind of like a really subtle dark wood pattern on it. I had kind of saved that because I'm a pack rat. So I just sort of traced it on there and started filling it with just random designs and stuff. I fucked it up and made it too big, but Jeremy cut it with his thingy.
Bandsaw.
Bandsaw. Not a thingy, a bandsaw. So that is actually a piece of my desk with marker on it.
I didn't want to trace the circle before we did the design. I actually wanted to take measurements and then redraw it with a compass because I knew that if we traced it, the edges weren't going to line up perfectly with the inside. So it actually took me probably about 12 different attempts of shaving down the edges on that design.
Oops.
One attempt after another to get it to actually fit inside of the channel.
Then once it was in there, I put some epoxy resin over it with a slight turquoise coloration in there and just put the turquoise stuff over it so they would kind of look like water. And that's also what I filled the holes in the sides with.
The last time I tried to do a project like this, A, I didn't have anywhere near as many awesome tools as I have now. B, I didn't have anywhere near the stockpile of cool shit that we have now. We've essentially spent all this time
Hoarding.
gathering materials.
Some would call it a problem.
It's not a problem.
It is when I do it.
It's not a problem as long as it stays well organized.
That should be your motto, Jeremy. It's not a problem as long as it stays well organized.
It's not. It's really not. It really expands the range of stuff you can make and cuts down on the time it takes to make it.
So you heard it from Jeremy. Hoarding is good now.
If you're organized, just having a bunch of stuff in a pile in a corner is not actually all that helpful if you can't find what you're looking for. I really spend an unreasonable amount of time just organizing stuff because I like to make things and I like to build things and I like to repair things, and so I have a lot of parts. But I really like to categorize everything that I own. I would honestly say that I actually spend more time organizing and preparing to work on a thing than I actually spend actually working on a thing. But that does mean that when I do decide to sit down and actually make something, it can feel very fluid because I don't have to waste as much time looking for a thing that I know that I have that I can't find. I can find everything that we have.
Well, organizing in itself is kind of an art.
It kind of is. I love sorting things. I don't know why. It's actually a real problem.
How is that a problem?
That's the opposite of a problem.
It's not a problem if it's organized.
Let that be a tip for everybody out there who likes to make stuff.
Organize.
Organize your shit. It's a pain in the ass, but fucking hell does it ever pay off. If you have writer's block, or you're feeling some sort of creative block in your life and you can't figure
Me all
out
the time.
what you want to make or how you want to make it, or you need some time to digest your thoughts, just take all of that time that you would normally be spending banging your head against your desk trying to think of something to do and sort bolts for 12 hours.
Organize some craft supplies, preferably with some nice music on in the background so you don't get like horribly bored.
It is a wonderful time for digesting thoughts and coming up with all sorts of cool ideas. I've come up with a lot of my better ideas while sorting bolts. Like if you spend all your time looking at parts.
I spend all my time looking at parts.
I'm trying to be serious. If you spend all your time looking at parts, you cannot help but come up with ways of putting them together.
Yeah, okay, Jeremy, I'll just start looking at parts and fantasizing about how to put parts together.
You're doing this wrong.
I know.
We've gone way off topic here, but my point was
Talking about parts, man.
the fact that our stuff is so well organized, the fact that we've spent such a long time accumulating so many different components made it so that when we finally did decide to actually make something, this thing came together so quick it was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it was surprisingly quick. Like, I thought it would take a lot longer to assemble it, but I just, like, brought you a bunch of crap, and I was like, here, use this. You were like, okay, I know exactly where this goes.
I think cumulatively this actually took a lot less time than most of the paintings that we do. I definitely want to make something else like this again. I kind of want to do maybe a third attempt at doing a robot hand. I kind of want to make more stuff like that.
I want to do more deranged experiments with cicada exoskeletons and crab claws and chicken bones. Like cybernetic monstrosities, just hit me up.
You hear that, folks? We got some cicada robots on the horizon. So, yeah, if you would like to purchase our County Collector, which is going to be on sale on the Saturday of the Chester County Studio Tour for $75, you got to be there at Studio 22 by 10 a.m.
Early bird gets the cicada exoskeleton. Is it ruined forever and ever?
Complete failure.
Complete, absolute, utter failure. Disaster. Aggressive surf music.